Okay guys, welcome to another episode of Why I Love. This is a series where I take a look at games that I'm very fond of, or at least I was fond of back in the day for various reasons. Now some of the games I'm going to look at are probably not going to be particularly good games. Some may be good games, some may not be. And this one here is Pac-Man on the 2600, Atari 2600. I'm just going to batter right in and start playing it. Now I am actually using a proper Atari joystick, just for that authentic arcade feel. Yeah, this game has been universally panned, along with E.T. has just been a terrible example of a 2600 game. Now I can kind of see why. The maze doesn't look like the arcade maze. The power pills are just big squares, they're not circles. The dots are not dots or dashes. Pac-Man does not face up or down, he just always looks to the side. He doesn't even open his mouth properly. The ghosts flicker horribly due to the limitations of the hardware. The sound is not the greatest, and the colours are all wrong, and the big power pill thing there looks nothing like what it should. So yeah, why do I love this game so much? Well, it's down to one simple reason. This was the game that really made me discover video games, and I knew after playing this game that this was something that I wanted to get into. Now I was not lucky enough to have an Atari 2600. The closest I had to a proper sort of video game was I had a Binatone Pong, which my granny actually gave me, and all the only games I had in that. The only games I had in that were squash, football and tennis, I think it was, and that was it. That was my whack. Now I'd seen this console in obviously shops, maybe have the odd game of it, but my mum and dad simply couldn't afford the £99.99 that this cost in the UK. So I knew I was never ever going to own one. But one summer afternoon, a friend from school, Nick Anderson, he came up to see me, and I think he phoned me and he says, "Look, I've got this video game called an Atari, do you want me to bring it?" So I'm like, yeah, of course. So Nick turned up with his Atari 2600. It was in the box, I can remember, it was all still boxed. He had two games, he had this and he had Combat. Now we did play Combat for a wee while, you could obviously play two players, but this was the game that we played all day. Now Nick did say that he was going to come back, he had to go home for his tea, but he said, "Look, I'll come back tomorrow and I'll bring the Atari with me again." So I said, "Look, why don't you just leave the Atari here, that'll save you having to take it home, and then you can take it away tomorrow." So he decided to do that. So Nick left me with his Atari 2600, and I quite literally played it all night until I was eventually chased off to bed by my mum and dad. And of course Nick turned up the following day and we played it all day again. And we played it so much that I can actually remember getting a blister on my right hand, because the Atari joysticks, they're actually really good joysticks. They're not the comfiest joystick to use. And even now, I mean, 30 years on, I'm using the Atari joystick, and it is, you've got to kind of force it. But yeah, it's, as I says, it is not what you would class a good video game, but this was the game that started it all for me. When I play it even now, it just takes me right back. God. So this takes me right back to, was it 1978, 1979? And I've got to say, I don't think it's that bad a game. Yeah, technically it's maybe not the greatest. But this was Pac-Man in your house. And, you know, a teenager being around you know, when this whole industry kicked off, being able to play an arcade game like Pac-Man in your own living room was just mind-blowing. And the thing is, back then, you didn't have thousands of games, because games then cost, I don't know what an Atari 2600 game costs in the UK back in the day, but it was probably about 20-30 quid. That was a shitload of money. And so you would only have had maybe a couple of games. You know, you got a game for your birthday, and that was really it. There's none of this games on 9910s like you get on iOS now. Oh, is that a power pill down the bottom? Certainly is. Damn it, I can't remember what my high score in this game was. I don't think it was particularly high. But I think we used to just try and clear the screen rather than maximise points. Somehow thinking that, you know, if you kept going you're going to get to some new screen. The only thing that happened was that the maze would change and the ghosts would get even harder. Got to say though, playing this game with Atari joystick is the way to go. You're able to kind of coax Pac-Man round the corners. Ah, damn it. But yeah, I'll always have a soft spot for this game. As I say, it was a game that ignited the light as far as video games were concerned. Had I never played this game, it could be that I would not be here today making videos about video games. But for all its graphically flickery blockiness, it's actually pretty good to play still. That's what we used to do. You used to eat a power pill and then try and clear as many of the dots as you could possibly get. One problem with this version was because the graphics flicker so badly, it wasn't always possible to know once you'd eaten a power pill if the ghost was actually still flashing. When you can see it, it was a kind of pinky colour. Oh! Ah! Bugger! Yep, anyway guys, that is it. Thank you very much for watching.
Thanks for watching my Mamemeister channel. Please feel free to like, comment or subscribe. You can also follow me on Facebook and Twitter.